that Attorney General Jeff Sessions is directing prosecutors to take a closer look at the 2010 sale of Uranium-1 to a Russian-backed company and the Clinton Foundation's alleged unlawful involvement in it. Clinton's alleged donations to the Clinton Foundation amounted to a quid pro quo for Hillary's State Department to sign off on the transaction, which gave Russia control of about 20% of America's uranium capacity. And according to a letter from DOJ to the House Judiciary Committee, the Attorney General is open now to the possibility of appointing a special counsel to look into the matter and other matters related to the Clintons. And news comes ahead of Mr. Sessions' highly anticipated testimony tomorrow before the House Judiciary Committee. Joining us now exclusively for a reaction are two House Republicans who want a special counsel to investigate Mrs. Clinton, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio and Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. You guys wrote an op-ed and you asked Jeff Sessions to move forward on a special counsel. Congressman Jordan?
Yeah. Well, no.
Are they listening?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely listening. You talk about the headline tonight in the Washington Post. Sessions considers appointing a second special counsel. We sent a letter on July 27th outlining why we think it's warranted. We met with Attorney General Sessions and Justice Department staff on September 28th. So far, we've got nothing, but it's amazing. Today, we do an op-ed, and suddenly the Department of Justice has had a come-to-Jesus moment, and now there's going to be a special counsel, or at least they're talking about a special counsel. That's exactly what has to happen when you think about how the things we've learned and how serious they are. The American people want answers. We want to give them those answers. We think a special counsel is the way to go.
Now, Congressman Gaetz, let's go through the many issues, the myriad issues. We have the Clinton Foundation. We have Uranium-1. We have the way Comey handled a potential indictment, announcing the investigation, then announcing there would be no indictment. His process for going about this investigation, not being present at important interviews, immunity deals struck with people like Cheryl Mills. Yep. What among those many things, and again, our viewers, heads are swirling, what are the most concerning elements of those, given what you both know already about this?
So many of these scandals link back to the Clinton Foundation, and it highlights that the American people are tired of this double standard where there's one set of rules for the Clintons and another set of rules for everyone else. Now, we're 6 months into this investigation of President Trump and his team in Russia. They found nothing. But look at the treasure trove of information that continues to be found out about the Clinton Foundation functioning essentially as a money laundering operation for the Uranium-1 deal. And that really ought to concern us. Our uranium assets are precious. We're an importer of uranium. It's crazy to give Russia this access to our uranium assets, but you had the very people that are now investigating President Trump involved in approving this deal and then silencing the witness who was ready to tell us that bribes and kickbacks were contributing to undermining America's interests. It's crazy. We need a special counsel to go after the Clinton Foundation, and Robert Mueller and Rod Rosenstein are way too conflicted to proceed against the president.
Now, Rosenstein would have to call for the special counsel, correct? Is that right?
I'm not sure of that. We don't know the answer to that, but when we sent our letter, we sent it to both Attorney General Sessions and to Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. So we'll see. What we
This goes back to Sessions recusing himself from anything related to
We don't know
Russia.
how far that goes. What we do know is stuff you brought up, Laura. James Comey called the Clinton investigation a matter, not an investigation. James Comey began drafting his exoneration letter prior to interviewing Secretary Clinton before the investigation was over. When he ultimately gets fired, which he should have been a long time ago, but when he's fired, what does he do? Leaks a government document through a friend to the New York Times. And what was his goal? He told us under oath to create momentum for a special counsel. And who does that special counsel have to be? His best friend, his predecessor, his mentor, Bob Mueller, who was the guy who was conflicted in this whole Uranium-1 deal. So when all those facts come out, not to mention the dossier, when all this comes out, we're saying, if this doesn't warrant a special counsel, what the heck does? That's all we said. And finally, today, they finally decide, oh, there's an op-ed today. Maybe we better answer Congress, who 3.5 months ago sent us a letter demanding it clear back then.
Congressman Gaetz, what do you think did take so long here? I think a lot of us who are, big fans of Jeff Sessions, and I'm one of them, I just find this to be curious. It's almost like anything that touches Russia, everyone's afraid of touching. Because you think, oh, you're trying to cover up for, some phantom collusion. You're trying to skid the tracks for Trump. This does go to national security, the integrity of the justice system, the the credibility of Jim Comey and how he handled this investigation from the beginning. When I heard that he wasn't present, unless something's changed, he was not present when Hillary Clinton was interviewed. How can he not be present? How do they have no notes of that, no transcript of her testimony?
Well, it's
It happened on a
ludicrous.
Saturday, I believe, on 4th of July weekend, if my memory serves me correct.
Well, it's absolutely ludicrous that James Comey made the decision to start drafting an exoneration letter before interviewing witnesses and before interviewing Hillary Clinton herself. Your question is, why did it take so long? And why tonight do we have, on the eve of Jeff Sessions' testimony before the Judiciary Committee, a statement that they're open to a special counsel rather than what Jim and I would like, which is the appointment of a special counsel? It all goes back to the Clinton Foundation. Jeff Sessions, in his testimony to the Senate, said he was recused on any matter that had any nexus to the Clinton Foundation. There was no legal obligation for Jeff Sessions to say that or do that, but he did. There is no way to investigate the Uranium One deal without looking into the Clinton Foundation filling out deposit slips with millions of dollars of donations from the Russians. So that appears to be the challenge, the nexus. And we certainly cannot leave to Mr. Rosenstein the question of appointing the special counsel, because it's Rosenstein's name on the signature block, sealing from Congress and the American people the very testimony of the informant ready to tell us about the bribes and the kickbacks.
What do you make of the old Obama intel chiefs coming out yesterday and, in various ways, various interviews recently, they're coming out and criticizing Trump on his comments about Putin and so forth, given the fact that we know both of them have their own credibility problems in testifying before Congress?
Of course. Well, I also think it's interesting. Go back to the January 6, 2017 meeting that Mr. Comey had with President-elect Trump, where he briefs President-elect Trump on the dossier. And shortly thereafter, someone leaks the fact that that meeting took place and that the contents of that meeting or the discussion in that meeting was about the dossier. Someone leaks that to CNN. Who leaked that? Who leaked that to CNN? And did that become the thing that legitimized the dossier so much that the press could then print it, which CNN did, and BuzzFeed could print the entire dossier itself? So those are the kind of questions. We haven't even gotten really to the dossier, but if a Clinton-financed, Democrat National Committee-financed Oppo research was turned into an intelligence document, and if that was the basis that for the FISA court giving a warrant to spy on Americans associated with the Trump campaign, if all that happened, if our government colluded with a major party and a major campaign to go after the other campaign in this country, you are not supposed to come anywhere near that. If that all took, now we don't know if it did, but there's a lot of evidence pointing in that direction. And read Byron York's piece. Today or yesterday's piece outlined a lot. There's read Kim Strassel's piece in the Journal. All those talk about this very thing. That's what's scary.
This dossier was marched over to the Justice Department by John McCain, was it not?
Clear back in the summer, they got the.
He marched it over there.
The final document, but they were getting. I think read Byron's piece. They were getting parts of this throughout the summer, and they launched a counterintelligence investigation. We want to know those kind of things, and we're hopeful that Mr. Sessions will not only appoint a special counsel, but give us some answers on those things tomorrow.
Gates, I'll let you finish this off, but don't you think so many people watching this are like, everything is just partisan. The Republicans want to go after the Clintons, and the Clintons and Obamas want to go after Trump. The Democrats just want to take Trump out. They want to redo the election, and they want to show everybody that they were right. We never should have elected him. And then Republicans just want to go after the Clintons. And people who don't focus on the minutia of the dossier and Uranium One, how do Republicans proceed so you all don't look like it's just another witch hunt in reverse here?
Well, first thing we have to do is have an equal standard that is applied to both the president and Mrs. Clinton. There's a special counsel investigating the president. We need the same standard to apply to the Clintons. They've never